Tell me, though, what's his technique? That last strike, it seems invincible.
Hello and welcome to Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. My name's Connor.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Omar.
I'm Emma.
And we're joined by Emma again. Thanks very much.
Yeah, anytime.
For this momentous occasion.
Yes.
Yes, I want to thank our patrons though, Ray and Derek. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
You guys are great. I'm glad you're enjoying us doing our thing. So, yeah, we're talking about the last issue of the Iron Fist miniseries. It's the last issue of the miniseries, but there is going to be a follow-up, which is in a tie-in event. I think it's a one-shot. So maybe that'll continue the story, or conclude the story.
Like an axe event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to assume everyone's here read the issue, and if you haven't, you might get a bit lost sometimes, but hey. So we have Alyssa Wong is the writer, Michael YG is the artist, J. David Ramos is the colorist, VC's Travis Lanham is the letterer, and Lionel Francis Yu and Sonny Go are the cover artists, and Gunji is the variant cover artist. So, don't actually know what the variant cover is for this one, but the normal cover has Loki on it. Iron Fist must fight for the fate of Kunlun. In his way stands Loki. Doesn't really happen in the book, but I'm not begrudging that because comics do that all the time. So
Yeah.
I did think this one was kind of funny though, because Loki is part of this big twist at the end that you wouldn't see coming, except that he was on the cover.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of an interesting choice.
True.
That's true, yeah. The way he's used in the story is that he's like a surprise reveal, but I guess they wanted to sell
They
more.
reveal it on the cover.
Yeah, I mean, people do like Loki, so yeah, it was probably like...
Especially this version of Loki is very popular and wasn't around for a while, is around now. They are also in Defenders Beyond.
Right. This is normal Loki, isn't it?
It's the Agent of Asgard Loki.
Okay.
Because when he talks about himself being... The way you can tell is when he talks about himself being the god of stories.
Right.
But yeah, he's the Agent of Asgard Loki. He's a little bit younger than what you'd call the normal Loki, but yeah.
Yeah.
Effectively.
So, I have no idea because I haven't read all that stuff, so what is...
No, and
said
that's
Loki,
fine,
God of
and you don't
Stories,
need to know that, but it's just if you happen to know that, it is a very popular run, and that's why having him on the front cover would be a draw, because it's not someone you see that often, or haven't recently, but has started sort of creeping back in.
Yeah. So right off the bat, there's problems with the issue, obviously, but I think it was better than the last few, but... It's also, too little too late.
Yeah.
We should have...
I wish we'd had more of a linear path to this point.
Yeah, and at some points I was reading
true.
it, and I'm like, was there an issue I missed? When I knew there wasn't, but... So... I don't know, this one just seems like a bit more coherent. Mm-hmm. Or, there's just... I don't know, things are moving along as... they should, but it's just...
Yeah, it was easier to follow, and it was a big fight, which is obviously a lot more exciting than the kind of jumping around exposition that we've had in the rest of the... I think
that's it. I think it was sort of... It didn't need the exposition anymore. I mean, there was still a fair bit from Xiao Lao at the front of it. There was still a little bit of...
But that's exposition we get.
Yeah.
But it's exposition we also probably needed earlier in the run.
Yeah.
But or some of it, not the...
I think they wanted to keep the
finally
mystery.
Getting it all together. Yeah, I think it was a case of wanting to keep too much of it a mystery.
But it's
in terms of storytelling.
At the expense of storytelling.
Yeah, so Xiao Lao talks to Lin Lei, and hey, I don't like how he talks. It reminds me of Brian Michael Bendis writing.
Same here.
Like,
it's really Bendis type. Like, yeah.
It's like, why is he talking like this? Where did he get all this sass from? I mean, you never really heard him talk.
Very, very modern dragon.
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea that, so he goes like, most of the time people take my power. This is like one of the only times that I've given my power to someone. And that's an interesting concept, but there's a problem, and that problem is I don't really care, which is like really unfortunate because I don't know. I read
think
this.
The problem is that I would have liked to see what Linley did to deserve that.
Well,
I don't mind it as a concept, but like he had it at the beginning of this run, and we had no idea why.
That's a story for another time. That's a story for Axe.
Or whatever. I doubt that will be the story. Oh well, it might be actually, because Axe is all about judging people worthy. So there's a chance that will be answered in Axe. But and I feel like the Axe story almost needs to go in the trade with this one, but it probably won't. And that's a little.
This wouldn't quite be the Damnation trade tier. Like if you just get Damnation 1 to 4, but it would be close because this is not a complete story at all. Is really it should be Iron Fist 6 labeled as an Axe tie-in, not Axe Iron Fist 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because and Kunlun, like the amount of times Kunlun's been attacked recently, I've just sort of it's stopped it's stopped being a big deal.
Yeah, I'm surprised any of it's left. But also then I think like on what you're saying about Axe, I also think we could have having the story that Alyssa wrote with Linley beforehand, where you find out about the sword getting broken, also should be in part of the trade.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it so directly follows up on that.
Yeah.
It's not a good introduction, and I haven't read that issue. But...
Yeah, I don't think they've done themselves any favours there with how this will pan out by trade.
And so like okay, so
I've just got sacked.
Kunlun,
at 5 issues, very thin. Sorry, yeah, it's very thin, and then you don't get much, and you don't even get a conclusion at the end. So,
or an introduction at the beginning. So it's a little bit like, it should be those 7 issues, and I just don't think it will be. So
at least 7.
Well, I mean, there's no other bits of the story right now, so I mean there should be. Yeah.
It's not the worst thing ever, but it's not it's not good,
Yeah.
But I mean, it is better than Heart of the Dragon, and I know that's like such a low bar.
I mean, it's a pretty low bar.
The writing in Heart of the, and I'm not just talking about what they did to Danny. I'm talking about stuff like.
I preferred the art in Heart of the Dragon.
That's true, but in terms of writing, we're not going to bother naming these other dragons. This one's just Spider Dragon. It's so lazy. It was like there was effort for the first 2 issues of that run, then it was just nothing. So, but anyway, with Kunlun, it's like okay, so it's been attacked a few times, but like that was kind of like normal, right? Like it gets attacked and it doesn't get destroyed that much, like.
Yeah, they never deal with the aftermath, which is too bad because that could be really interesting.
We got it a little bit with Brisson's, when they're rebuilding.
Yeah,
but that's the closest we've got to, and that's not very much.
What I'm trying to get at is, it did get destroyed, right? Like I remember, I think it was destroyed or borderline destroyed at one point in Power Man and Iron Fist, but outside of that,
yeah.
And that mini-series where Davos takes over, which may as well not be canon, there's, it gets destroyed in Living Weapon. Like, that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that ends with the citizens moving back in and stuff. And then we have Brisson's run, and it's like, it's a recovering Kunlun under siege.
Yeah.
And that felt like a big deal, because this is Danny's chance to redeem himself and do his job.
Yeah.
And now it's like just happened again. It's just too many times. Like it happened so recently.
Yeah.
And it's like And the thing is, it's not just that Kunlun's under attack, he's, like, taken it over, which is like, okay. That just happened, I guess.
Incredibly, yeah, it's always incredibly weird to me how, I mean, the number of times that it has been attacked kind of successfully. And yeah, I found it particularly weird here because he seems to just kind of stroll in. Is that, I mean, presumably Kunlun is this place where most of the people are very good fighters. So you would think it would be more difficult than it has seemed to be to actually successfully take over.
Well,
but
yeah, I mean, the idea is everyone's outside and he's using this, big magic as well.
Yeah.
But it just feels like, okay, like it doesn't have any impact.
Maybe if Shula's gonna give their power to someone, it should be someone who's actually gonna stop.
Right.
Maybe Shula doesn't care.
I get the feeling that they don't.
Like it's like at the end it should be a big reveal and it's not. Because we also had this in the TV show.
Yeah.
So that's another instance where it's like, okay, it's been sacked a lot recently, and like, this is just one time too far. Like, even if this was Danny being Iron Fist and Kunlun got sacked, I'd be like, oh. Like,
yeah, no,
that's the same reaction.
Sure.
It's like,
yeah. If it was Danny once again having, no.
It would just be like, why are we doing this again?
This isn't a Lin Lee thing. This is we've just seen this a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like, I don't know, there's just other things you can do with Kunlun besides blow it up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like the city.
And there should be somebody, at Marvel who sees these kinds of patterns. With
I mean, you would think the editor would be like, just attack somewhere else.
Exactly.
Attack Rand Meacham. That hasn't been attacked for a little bit.
Yeah, attack Rand Meacham. Yeah. Attack one of the other cities and have the Iron Fist ask to help.
Right.
Yeah, something
that
like
that. Would be
cool. But it's just
like, what makes Kunlun the one that everyone wants? There's supposed to be more of these cities, and
like I don't think it's.
I have questions.
I don't think it's lazy. I think genuine effort went into all this.
I don't think it's
the
lazy.
previous series.
I find it confusing, and
It's just I don't know. It's like none of it's landed, and it's just. And I guess we'll talk about, like, we do get Danny and we do get fan service there, but it's still like, and I'm glad. It's like, oh cool, he does something, and like I'm glad he and Sparrow are still in contact with each other.
Yeah, we got that one really nice panel that I liked.
And like,
with them.
I'm like, oh okay, cool. They're still buddies. They're still in contact with each other. But I'm not gonna, as much as I love that, I'm not gonna let it blind me to, everything. No pun intended, by the way. Sorry, Sparrow.
Yeah.
So there was a bit here, right? After Shao talks to Lin Lei, and then we get more. I don't know. The brother's talking about how he wants to summon this big demon so that they can fulfill their family's destiny and kill him with the sword. And then Lin Lei's like, "Well, no, you're lying," and that's pretty obvious because this guy's super shady.
Yeah.
But
I did really like. I do still actually really like Lin Feng. I actually find him a lot more interesting than
I find
Lin
him
Lei.
really interesting. I want his story.
Yeah. So I enjoyed him in this issue very much. And I tend to really enjoy kind of dysfunctional family things. So that aspect of it, I was a bit interested
made me
in
more
that.
interested to know about the whole family, which the other issues haven't. Like, last issue didn't, because it was just like I had no idea what was going on for most of it. I mean, I did, but you know what I mean. But this one, you're right. The dynamics seemed a bit more settled. He seemed to actually have a plan.
Yeah.
There was more there to sort of hook me.
I mean, I like him. I wouldn't go far to say as it made me invested, though, because to me, like, I like him just because we talked about it earlier. Like, he's dastardly, he's evil, and he has something he wants to do, whereas everyone else is kind of piddling around.
Yeah, I think that is it.
And so we get this. It seems that off screen, Danny's arrived with Luke, and and the Immortal Weapon stopped fighting with the other two, and everyone's fighting zombies now. That just happened off paddle. Like, they're all teamed up at this point.
I'm so confused now. I can't even remember how Danny's able to go back and forth through Kunlun. Is Fu's machine still, was it destroyed, or was it
Did they not use it
still
in
working
Heart
at the end
Dragon?
of Heart of the... Yeah,
I think
They used it in Heart of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Can't even remember.
To be honest,
most of us have taken that out of our brains. So.
Yeah.
and
Because I don't know
it's
how he
still-
travels from Earth to Kunlun.
well, he's
without,
not in Kunlun. Like, I don't think he ever went to
Oh
Kunlun.
yeah,
Like,
this isn't Kunlun, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
No.
no, it's
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's
That's right.
right-
So,
Yeah, it's kind of
Oh,
right
right,
outside,
right.
I think.
he contacted, or Luke sent Sparrow a message on his behalf. I'm not sure how he contacted her.
who knows?
Maybe.
you don't know if it's...
To be fair,
By
like,
text.
it
I
should
don't
be-
actually mind that I don't know.
No, yeah, that's something I'm willing to hand wave, and like those two, it shouldn't be difficult to find a way to communicate between realms,
Yeah.
considering Danny had the Book of the Iron Fist for so long, and she's the UT, so.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But does he still have the book, or did he surrender it?
Who knows?
Well, I'm guessing he still has
Because
it
if
right
he's not
now,
the Iron
but-
Fist anymore, he shouldn't
Well,
have
I'm
it.
guessing he has it, but
But he had the
the
book.
discussion at the end here means he's probably going to pass it on.
Like, what I meant is he had the book. He's had it for a long time,
Yeah.
so he,
Yeah.
like, even if he doesn't have it now, I'm sure there's stuff he'd remember.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they could figure something out. And and Danny is carrying that person from the last issue. That was, they're all fighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least Fat Cobra has his tattoos. You know?
Yeah.
They were
Got them back.
they were fighting zombie demons in Heart of the Dragon as well. Like, that's all Danny did.
They
And,
fight
like, 'cause
zombies
they
a lot.
And we have this whole, like, they finally reconciled the swords and the chi. But again,
Yeah,
I
so
just...
there's sword coming out of one hand, the chi coming out the other.
Like, these big moments
Yeah.
are fine, but again, I just wasn't invested because it just didn't invest me before this point. So,
Mhm.
Yeah, I was. They're cool moments, but I just and I think part of it for me is that just the uncertainty we have about Danny's future just made this whole thing very stressful to read. Like, if I knew
Yeah.
what was going to be happening with Danny, then I could relax and say, okay,
Right.
this is what this is this, and I'll enjoy this, and we'll get Danny over here. But which is not really fair to this comic, I understand. But it is part of it, I think.
luckily, I can
Okay.
represent us that weren't worried because I didn't have any faith or anything. So I was just like, oh, I'm surprised we got that much with Danny. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, and the whole, like, I don't know, just the whole combining the sword with the Iron Fist still feels a bit weird to me. Like, it doesn't.
It still seems a very
Yeah.
elevated pitch to me. Like somebody
Yeah.
said, wouldn't it be cool if? And there's still no real reason. Like,
It's like,
we
not
still
really.
don't really know why he needs this and why,
Mhm.
like
Right.
there's. I just feel like there's a big bit missing about why.
Right, yeah, he still
Yeah.
has no connection to Kunlun or any of
His
this.
friend's still a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Despite me liking her clothes, she's still annoying.
Yeah.
Well, no, I like her, and she's all like, "Oh no, worried about Kunlun," but then, and she's been kind of like ratty to people throughout, and like how she's going to be the new UT and stuff like that. And then like Danny says he'll train Lynn, and she's all like, "Yes," and I'm like, I thought she'd be like, "He doesn't need your training.
Well, I'm glad
I'm
they
going to
didn't.
be, I can train him." What was that? Like, I really thought she was going to come out with something like that, because it's like this whole time she's been a bit sort of abrasive, I should say.
Also, when Lay knows Danny is the dude from the subway, I found it a bit weird because
Me too.
Danny's.
I don't think.
Hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Danny's identity is the Iron Fist is public, like it's not a
Yeah.
secret. Like
Yeah.
people on the street, know he's the Iron Fist. They in Living Weapon, like it's common knowledge. The reporter mentions,
True.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows the immortal weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
So
If
why
he knows
doesn't he
them,
know
how does he
the
not know
previous
him?
Iron Fist?
Yeah.
And he's been in Kunlun for some time, so why doesn't he know Danny?
Yeah, it's not like Danny's they're ashamed of him or anything.
Sure, there's a little picture of in the Iron Fist Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
Here's Danny.
Yeah, he'd be
he
the
turned
only
down immortality.
And he's the only blonde white guy there. Like, he'd stand out, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Danny was talking to him about Kunlun in the first issue, so you'd think at the very least that he would connect the dots and go, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this must be the previous Iron
True.
Fist.
Unless we're getting it wrong, and he's talking about Luke, because I didn't bother going back and checking, but I don't think he's seen Luke,
I don't
right?
think Luke was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the beginning, no.
And again,
I mean, that's just it's not just poor writing. It's also poor editing from the editor's side.
yeah.
Should have noticed that and say, hey, wait, this guy should know Danny. Yeah, from the very beginning, because you're an editor. You're supposed to give your input, your insight. You're supposed to be the one overseeing a book, so you should know these things and be able to come up with a suggestion to the writer what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do.
Well,
the sense that I got from it was that it was supposed to be funny, but it didn't really land because it doesn't quite make sense.
I mean, given the amount of stuff that didn't make sense in Heart of the Dragon, and given the fact that everyone's head was gyrating like it was Jacob's Ladder, like, I feel like Marvel doesn't care that much, or that, like the editors don't bother.
I mean, I get that on several of their books, so I would say that this is not the only one that may suffer from that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's like some...
Yeah, I remember... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that there's like some martial arts, they do like kicks and stuff, but it doesn't,
Yeah.
Again, I keep saying it, not as bad as Heart of the Dragon. Like, I think there's more martial arts in this than there is in that. Like, even there's and like, I'm fine with Iron Fist stories where you don't draw attention. Like, if it's more mystic in nature, that's fine. But like, a lot of the time you can do both.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed Brisson and Ed Brubaker both, had like a lot of mystic elements in their runs, but they were still doing like techniques and stuff, Like Danny was fighting a giant dragon and he was still using like hammerhead blows and stuff on it.
Yeah.
But that's like a quibble. I don't really mind that much, but like they haven't seemed to have forgotten that Iron Fist is supposed to be a martial artist, which is nice, I guess. But again, like I don't know. I'm just going through and there's some nice pages and stuff, but yeah, there's not that much to say about the issue. I mean, I think
there isn't. I mean, I guess there's the Loki stuff at the end as well, which is okay.
I guess we get to he starts to fight his brother, and then all the warriors of Kunlun, which he kind of talked about, they arrive, and Sparrow and Danny talk to each other.
Yeah, which again is nice, because there is no acknowledgement in the series that they actually are friends and know each other, and you know.
This is something nice. That was specifically bugging me that I wanted to have resolved, and we did get something with that, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys interpreting? How are you guys interpreting them being locked out of Kunlun? Are you interpreting that as being something that Lin Feng is doing specifically? Because I found that a little bit unclear of the nature of their being locked out.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was totally unclear.
It could be anything.
Maybe he just has that type of power. Maybe Loki's the one who did it.
I mean, he says he sacrificed a few thousand demons, so he's killed all the demons. Like, his army he's used to, like, not open the door.
But then, I don't know. They'll find a way back.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, how are we going to get the resolution of this?
In the, I'm sure, in Acts or whatever.
I hope so. Yeah, because I was thinking, if this is just him closing access to Kunlun the way it's normally closed, one of the great traditions of Iron Fist comics over the past 50 years has been creators coming up with ways to get around that.
Yeah.
So there are a whole bunch of options for them to get back in that I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Iron Fist and Loki will both face judgment in Axe.
I think this whole thing's something to talk about in the next issue, because the way it's structured is like, this is a cliffhanger ending where you don't get an explanation. So
I actually think the Axe issue sounds considerably like it'll have the information that we want and should have had in this.
It's just one issue.
After the clash between the brothers, Lin Li, protector of Kunlun, must reclaim access to Kunlun, but not before he faces a trial unlike any other, Xiao Lao. And that's because in Axe, it's not actually, it's someone taking the form of these other things. So it won't actually be Xiao Lao. It'll be the judge, whatever his name is, judging. And find out when Iron Fist and Loki face judgment. So it does seem that will be about reclaiming Kunlun.
I still don't care.
No, I don't. I care from the point of view that this is going to come out as a 5-issue trade that doesn't have the start of the story or the end of the story.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know, if this comes out and it's 5 issues, just don't get it. Or, I don't know. So, anyway, he uses these demons, and I guess he uses them to close the portal and trash Kunlun. Who knows? Find out later. Whatever. We're back. Omar had to go. So, yeah, we're right at the end, and yeah, so Sparrow says we're locked out of Kunlun, it'll take time, but we'll find a way to reopen the portal. So I guess, they don't have... I really can't remember if Danny's machine was destroyed. It might have been. I'm not going to go and check.
Yeah, I'm not going to go check.
Even if it was, there are other ways to get in.
There's so many ways around it.
I mean, just call up Doctor Strange, literally.
With him as well, to be honest, that opens up a whole other series of abilities.
Yeah, I would have to imagine it's something else going on here.
Maybe Danny has some Jade Tigers lying around,
Maybe. I mean, he probably does.
Mm-hmm.
And then Danny's like, this is even close to the worst thing I've done. And I was like, I don't know if you've done anything that bad. I mean, Lin Lei hasn't done, he hasn't done anything bad here either, I guess. But...
Alright.
So that's it. That's the issue.
Yeah, and I did appreciate getting the thing that at least I was hoping we would get, which is Danny.
Yes.
Training Lin.
There was a bit of a cheer there.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't I help you?
Yeah. So for the record, Daddy says, I'll teach you everything I know about being an Iron Fist. Or the kid. Why do people always not message me while I'm recording, but then message while I'm recording? Anyway. Daddy says, I'll teach you. I'll teach you everything I know about being an Iron Fist, or the only kind of Iron Fist I know how to be, me. Now, I saw people take issue with that because he knew about all the previous Iron Fists, but I think that's just, I don't know. I don't think that implies anything.
I mean, Danny is a very unique kind of Iron Fist, and I think he's just acknowledging that anyway.
Yeah, he can always hand over the book and let Lin Li. I mean, I can't imagine Lin sitting down and studying it on how he's approached sorting out the sword and stuff like that. But
I think people are reading too much of it. I don't think that implies that Danny doesn't know about the other Iron Fists.
No, I don't either.
No. I didn't get that from it at all.
Him,
it just sounds like something Danny would say.
Yeah, it does, actually.
Because he was, the way he is Iron Fist is different to the more traditional Iron Fists.
I think it's nice. It's a little bit self-deprecating. It's saying, I'll teach you how to be an Iron Fist. Well, it's not like, I thought it was fine.
Yeah. I'm just noticing now, I think this is kind of funny, in that second to last panel where, Danny's got his arms around Lin and Min is cheering, and then I can't remember his name, but this other guy is just majorly side-eyeing them, which I thought was kind of funny.
Oh,
he is funny. I like
What's his name? I don't remember his name.
I like Fat Cobra having a snack on that panel.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice that.
That made me laugh. Everyone else talking serious things like that. I'll just have a snack.
And then he says, I'll get I'll seek out Shang-Chi and White Fox as well. It's like, yep, she's going to be trained by all the martial artists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, because aren't they doing? Yeah, no, there's some team up coming, but I don't think it's with these guys. But yeah, oh yeah, because we really need the whole. Okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Kunlun, he's sitting on his throne. He seemed to have sucked the life out of all these guards. And then Loki shows up, and they go blah 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 blah.
I mean, finding a way into Kunlun doesn't seem that hard a feat for a mortal.
Yeah,
to be fair, but, you know.
The final tome that he needs is in Kunlun, which is why he's gone in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue, as I said, it was a step up from the others. It still felt really messy though, and I don't know if that was like the paneling or whatever, but it just felt a bit like all over the place.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was hard sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, it was hard sometimes to figure out exactly what was going on.
I still don't know what's happening. I still don't know parts of the whole chunk of the storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the end of this run. So, I mean,
but at least we know where Iron Fist will be next. But it will be Lin Lei. But it's also just weird to like have it up in the air a bit.
Yeah, it's hard to comment on it because we're still missing vital pieces of information.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like the whole. I have very strong feelings on the whole. Well, most people have taken my power, but I'm giving it to you. I have very mixed feelings on that, but I feel like I can't really comment on it until we see we get the actual details in the next issue.
Well, I mean, the whole way Shell-Out was talking was off as well.
Well, yeah, there's that.
But yeah, no, that is weird. Like, because Shell-Out wasn't really a slave. I don't know. It's like there was a unique relationship with Shell-Out and Kunlun.
Right. It's a fair fight. You go in, you fight the dragon. Sometimes Shell-Out, kills the person, and sometimes the person kills Shell-Out. And it's not like Shell-Out's being beset, by these mean people.
Shell-Out was also at the celebration of Kunlun and Living Weapon, like celebrating with them, and fought
and there's
to defend
and there's
it.
and there's the whole fact of it feels weird for Shell-Out to give if Shell-Out I find that they kind of break with tradition, the idea of giving instead of taking. It's kind of interesting, but it does feel weird that Shell-Out would give it to someone with no connection to Kunlun.
I guess we'll find out. Maybe he gave it to him specifically because of the Swordmaster stuff.
Right, yeah.
Maybe,
so it's hard
the stuff
to comment
we don't
on
really
it.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just Lin Lei's getting everything from everyone. He's getting the Iron Fist, he's getting the sword, he's getting the training from every Marvel martial artist. Well, not everyone, but like 3 of them.
And it's fine. I don't know if we've seen what makes him special yet.
It's not even. Again, it's like there's all these moments that are supposed to be big, and I just don't care, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's. Again, I went into this, I was willing to, I gave it a chance. It's
Yeah, I think ultimately for me, it's just that this is not the character that I became a fan for, and at the end of the day, that's just going to be.
Yeah, there's that
situation.
too.
I'm not the target audience for this.
Yeah.
Now that I'm like, okay, I'll give this new Iron Fist a chance, I'm also realizing the reason I'm an Iron Fist fan is because of Danny Rand, not just because of the mythology of Iron Fist, which took ages to develop as well. Like, I was interested in him as a character and stuff. So, obviously, you have this new guy and there hasn't been much to set him up, and it's like, well, if it's not Danny or someone I care about, then I'm just, it has Iron Fist on it, but I guess, it takes more than, the costume and the glowing fist for it to be Iron Fist for me. That's not what Iron Fist is to me, I suppose.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
You can tossed around the powers like a hot potato, but yeah. So, again, improvement. Again, still not good, though. I don't think anyway. I mean, I'm sure if you've enjoyed this, that's cool. Like, that's fine. You know, from what I've seen, it's been like, some people have enjoyed. I don't want to, like, don't take my word as authority, but from what I've seen, the majority of people aren't big on this.
Yeah.
And again, like, if you liked it, that's cool. As I said, some people have been enjoying it, so yeah.
Yeah, to be continued, I guess.
It's weird. It's like the end, but we know we've got this extra one, and it's just like there's something very unsettling about that, in a way.
Yeah, and I'll read it, but I don't really. I have no investment in where it's going, unless I guess Danny and Sparrow talk to each other more. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And again, that's another part of what makes Iron Fist is his relationships with all these other people, all these other Iron Fist characters. You know?
Right, yeah, exactly. We're losing the whole cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we had Sparrow, Luke, Misty, Colleen. You know,
and
the
poor
other
Pei.
Pei, yeah, it was Pei.
Poor Pei.
Yeah,
it was
she's
just being written right out.
To come along.
Yeah.
Which is strange because, of course, like, this was the age in Iron Fist, and like, and we just and then we've just absolutely barely even mentioned Pei. I think she was right in the beginning. She was sitting around that dinner table. Do you remember where they were all eating different foods?
Yeah.
Just like very strange as well.
Like, she was still too young to be the Iron Fist, but like, she was clearly the one that was supposed to. Like, Danny chose her. Xiao Lao chose her as well, or she, you know, so.
Yeah, she's been getting all this training, and yeah, it wasn't. I think it was. There's this idea was introduced that, well, that will happen later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all very messy and I think unfortunate because I love Pei.
Yeah.
So it's very, very strange.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. The whole thing's weird.
Yeah, I have like no idea what's going to happen next, if they'll do another Iron. I mean, I guess some of it's going to depend on how well this sold, but like, there's a certain bittersweetness because like, we really don't know if we'll see Danny again.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure we'll see him in the odd story backing up Luke. Whatever's happening with that, but it's just like, yeah, so we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's partly kind of what I was saying before, where I found it hard to enjoy this because I was just stressing about Danny, because it's so up in the air. I will say, of the issues that came out this week, there's also the variant number 3. I don't know if you guys have been reading that.
I haven't. I was waiting to trade it. Is it good?
I'm really enjoying it. It's really interesting. And one of the things I found interesting about it is that it seems to be largely disconnected from anything else going on, and Danny still seems to be the Iron Fist in that. He's actually in this week's issue as mentioning that he's the Iron Fist. So I thought that was really interesting.
For anyone tracking all of Iron Fist's appearances, he was also in the Ziggy Pig and Silly Seal Infinity comic this week.
Oh, wait, really?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that. I'll have to read that.
They're trying to show up Spider-Ham. So they Iron Fist and Moon Knight. And I don't know who the third. I don't remember the third thing they do because I didn't read it. My friend just sent me it, and she was like, "Here's for your Iron Fist podcast. Here's for your Moon Knight podcast." And I'm like, okay.
Oh, and the other thing that came out this week, which I also highly enjoyed, is the first issue of the new Thunderbolts run, which has Vic Alvarez in it. And Luke as the mayor. So check that out as well if you haven't.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll cover the hopefully final issue of this, because may as well see this story through to its end. But again, like if it's good that Daddy's being established as training him, I guess. But
yeah, I mean that was one of our bigger hopes for it once we Found out the basics of story.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and it's a big relief that he's not just being written out completely.
Yeah.
If we don't have Danny or any of the others, like it doesn't feel like Iron Fist, despite having the powers and Kunlun. Like it just doesn't feel like an Iron Fist comic. I think it's difficult because Iron Fist has been one character for like over 40 years now, and there's been other Iron Fists and stuff, but still, I don't know. Anyway, hopefully the wrap up's good, but again, I don't, I want it to be good. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
But hey, before then, we'll either be talking about Heroes for Hire or Deadly Hands of Kung Fu.
Oh, yes.
Which is really good, that Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. It's great.
I'm really enjoying that, yeah.
Yeah.
To get back.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a real palate cleanser.
It is.
And
I've not read it before, so it's kind of really nice to just have this to go from like kind of missing Danny and not being to like go to this real sort of classic full of martial arts stuff.
Yeah, just like that it's full of martial arts, like, it's like coherent.
Yeah.
Although like it struggles a bit with the coherency sometimes, but yeah. Well, I guess none of us really liked it, but I'm sure there's some listeners who liked it. And yeah, so we'll see where it goes.
Yep.
We'll keep giving it. We'll keep trying to give it a fair shot. That's all we can do,
Yeah.
But like if I want to keep spending money on something I'm not enjoying, so
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, Emma.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you for having me.
When is this Axe Iron Fist coming out?
A while.
September 12th.
Yeah. Oh, it's not as far away as I thought. I thought the tie-ins
October
were like
12th.
a really long. Yeah. I think they're a long time. Yeah, October 12th.
So over a month. Long gaps in this story.
So we can record that just before I disappear for a few weeks.
And we do have one bit of feedback from Andrew Nicholas. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Spoilers, this wasn't as bad as Heart of the Dragon overall, but it also wasn't great. Linley isn't a terribly interesting character, his family dynamics are a boring trope, and the growth of Linley felt entirely unearned. Plus, the change to the fist itself belongs back in the 90s when everyone had spikes on their costume. The art was okay, and the dialogue was fine. Solid 6 out of 10.
Yep.
Fair enough?
Yeah, that sounds... Yeah.
Sounds
Generous.
pretty much what we think, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, until next time, use your sword shards and go up, up, and away. Whee. Peace.
Bye.
Iron Fist and all other characters in these comics are properties of Marvel and Disney. Any music or images we use belong to their respective copyright holders. We do this for fun, so please don't sue us. You can contact us at sonsofthedragonpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us mail, comments, thoughts, anything you want, really. It doesn't even have to be related to Iron Fist. If you don't want it read on the air though, make sure you mention that. You can also find us on Facebook, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast, Sons of the Dragon. Our Twitter, @Iron Fist Podcast. Our SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Sons of the Dragon. Hyphens where the spaces are. Our YouTube, Connor Carl. Just search Iron Fist Podcast and you'll find us real quick. We are also on iTunes. If you find us there, give us a review and rate us. If it's less than 5 stars, please say why so we can improve the show. And we're on Podcast Garden in the literature section. And last but not least, head over to our WordPress, Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast.wordpress.com. That's where I put all the show notes. I'd like to thank Thomas Tissot for composing the Iron Fist theme song we use at the start of our Iron Fist episodes on the podcast. I'd also like to thank Peter John Sikosky for composing the Power Man and Iron Fist theme we use at the start of our Power Man and Iron Fist episodes. And finally, thanks to you guys for listening.